buttered toast?
Butter tarts?
Buttle, yeah. Buttle tarts? Butter tarts? Hi, everyone. I'm Mac, the Gray Skeptic, and I'm here with Forsaking Faith's Christine and Heather. If you would both like to introduce yourselves.
I'm Christine.
Hi, I'm Heather.
You want us to talk more? Is that good?
That's up to you. Well, why don't you tell us what you do on your channel?
You go ahead, Heather.
Okay, so Christine and I have a podcast that comes out weekly called Forsaking Faith. And essentially, it's a podcast that we really felt like there was a need that we wanted to fill, which is to have a podcast that explores the emotional impact that deconversion has, as opposed to focusing on the intellectual reasons for deconverting, even though that's obviously also really important. But we felt like there's a lot of resources already out there for that. And so that's one of the main things that we focus on our podcast. We have different topics. So for example, on dying, on sex is the one that we just recorded. That will be out this weekend. Everyone likes to talk about sex and think about sex. So that will be a fun.
Yay,
so
sex.
listen.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's not as cool as that. It's on sex and consent. We'll probably do one on fun sex sometime.
Yes. Yeah, this one was a little more serious. Yeah. And
Serious sex.
Yes.
Down to business.
Right.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and also the other thing I wanted to add too is we also really feel like our voice as women in this community is really important. So we also tend to focus a lot in our podcast on specifically how the process of deconversion has affected us as women. But a lot of our, obviously, we are interested in topics that are broad and are relatable to people of all genders and sexual orientation. But certainly our perspective is, we think, unique and in the community and necessary.
Right. And my goal is to just get people thinking about, because people who are new to deconversion often have a lot of questions. And so just giving them some sort of springboard things to think about is the goal of the podcast. And also another goal of mine is to just reach Christians who may be questioning why their friends deconverted, or what what the emotional and mental things are going through their friends' heads, or maybe even someone that is doubting. And so I want to reach those people as well. And so we're really respectful of the Christian faith, whereas like some epistemology episodes or podcasts are not as respectful. So we like to keep the conversation open, and that's, my personal aim for Forsaken Faith.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I definitely get that from your podcasts, because I'm all caught up on them. But it's almost odd listening to them, because it almost sounds like I'm just listening to two nice Christian girls talk about Christianity. It's sort of like you are very respectful of the faith.
Oh, well, wait till the On Sex comes out.
Yeah,
I do get a little bit. Actually, when we were practicing for it, because we always go through what we're going to say first, just to outline it. And when I was practicing, Heather, I got really fiery, didn't I? Was like through my computer. No, I'm just joking.
Fire and brimstone.
But I did get really mad about, so I have a lot of anger still, and sometimes I don't think about that. So we are respectful, but we also do have some residual feelings left that
yes,
we'll see more of. Yeah.
Right. And that's fair. That's obviously fair. And I really appreciate your podcast, because that's also a focus group that I really wanted to like focus on, was people like just coming out of atheism. Because when I started making videos, I was fresh out of not out of atheism, but out of Christianity. And I think it took me probably a solid 6 months before I really embraced the term atheism.
Yeah, it took me, what, 13 years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's cool to call myself that.
It takes time.
Yeah. It takes time. It took me, about 4 years of sort of questioning. And I still don't call myself an atheist. I consider myself to be an agnostic. So
exactly. Right. Yeah. More agnostic than atheist, but agnostic atheist is. I've seen the chart like 16 million times. I get it. It's fine.
And like, it kind of just depends on how you look at the chart, because some people really look at it like there's agnostic, there's atheist, then there's like anti-theist, and that's like the hardest side of it. But really, it doesn't necessarily have to be a line like that.
Right.
Even a lot of anti-theists are like, no, that's just not how it is.
Right.
And to me, it really doesn't matter quite as much. But I do identify as an anti-theist, atheist. So yeah. So I'm one of those real evil guys.
Nice.
So
I'm trying to open the link for chat.
Oh yeah, I always watch it on my phone.
Oh, here we go. I got it.
We do have people in here. We have Beej, we have Natcha, we have Shane, and I thought I saw one more. Maybe I didn't though. I didn't, but that's all right. These people were nice enough to show up. So screw everyone else. And it looks like 2 people just popped in. 3 people just popped in.
I'm one of them.
Screw you guys. Screw you too. Thanks for coming on.
Late.
Speaking of late, everyone, sorry for being late. I try to make it here at 11, but I'm sure you're all used to me now. 11:05 or 11:10 is when I start these. But anyways, I think Christine, you said that you've watched some of the Atheist Flashbacks, right?
Some of them, yes. As in some of each of them.
Some of each of them. Fair enough.
Yes.
And how about you, Heather?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, since we didn't get a whole lot of time to talk beforehand, I'll just give you a brief rundown of what this is. More or less, I just turn you into Christians again, and you just pretend that you're more or less just speaking from that point of view. And any questions that I give you, I'm looking for your Christian answer. And if you feel like it's important to tell like the paradigm shift of it, or just like if you really have had a really big mindset change on any of these topics or any of these verses that I ask you about or anything like that, just go ahead and say it. Like, we can go down any rabbit hole that
all right, so let me be clear. So do I pretend that I'm 19 again? Or
see, that's a good question.
Or do I pretend that I'm a Christian and 31 now?
Pretty much the latter, if that makes sense.
I love
so
role
pretend
playing,
like
but
you're 25.
25. So no baby. Pretty like not stable in her life yet. Still thinks she's on top of the world, but definitely isn't. Okay, got it.
There. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm looking for. No.
Okay,
so
no, just kidding. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Fantastic. Okay. So we'll go ahead and start. And the first question I like to ask is, do you like to drink?
Heather, why don't you start?
Oh, this is really hard. Okay. So, in the Bible, it just what it says about drinking is to not be drunk on wine. There's a Bible verse that says don't be drunk on wine. So, I don't think that having a sip of alcohol is a sin, although I have had a few sips of alcohol in my life. But I do think that being drunk and like drunken behavior is sinful. So I don't. This is so hard to do. So I avoid going to bars, and I do not partake in like the culture, like the bar culture. But if someone offers me like one drink, I'll have it. I'll have a few sips of it.
Okay. All right. And then just to specify then, you said that you shouldn't get drunk on wine, but is like rum okay? Because that's like my favorite.
I interpret that verse as being about any alcoholic beverage. So wine is just a symbol for all forms of alcohol.
Okay. I was just making sure because I'm already an atheist and I don't want to push my luck any further.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Okay, I am the biggest lightweight, and so it doesn't take much for me to violate that scripture. Maybe like a couple sips of wine, and we're not exaggerating here, legit. Like it's really bad. It's like 5'7", 120 pounds.
Well, I actually have wine tonight, so I'm glad that
Heather has witnessed this. Yes, this is true. I'm drinking teetotaler right here. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. But I was also 19 when I, so
No, it's okay. Go ahead and be honest, but also just be honest about what your church expected, more or less.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah. I don't drink a lot, but I don't really fret. I don't care if other people do. It's my non-Christian friends certainly have parties and things, and I've had like a beer, but it's just not my taste, and I don't feel like my mom was the first person I got drunk with at a family party, and she is the most God-seeking person that I've ever met, and so I feel like from her example, I don't really mind a little bit of alcohol, but I don't really partake myself. But I don't judge you for having some, Mac.
Thank you.
It's A-okay.
I'm judging a little bit.
Yes. Well,
she always judges a little bit.
Right. I feel like I'd be a little bit more worried if you cared about it. And so I don't believe the other guy exists, but whatever. Anyway, next. Actually, I didn't check the live. I like to try to knowingly check the live chat as much as I can.
Yeah.
Because
I do too. So I do too. Don't worry.
B says that they're very super sensitive to alcohol.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Not just like I like alcohol. Of course you do down under. All you do is drink in upside down world.
Got money. Oh no, that's a win, not drink.
All right. So next question.
Yeah.
As I keep leaning into the computer, what sets you guys' church community apart from other, not just other Christians, but other non-denominational, other Pentecostals? Oh, I didn't tell anyone. Non-denominational Pentecostal religion.
Crazy charismatic. Yep.
Crazy charismatic.
Holy Spirit speaking, tambourine shaking. Yeah.
No, I do love tambourines. I might have to adjust my worldview. So
what's a really good reason?
Yeah, if you Google, I learned this because I showed some of my friends who come from secular backgrounds some videos of the kind of dancing that we used to do. So you can find it in YouTube. Ooh. Just Google Pentecostal dancing, and yeah, it'll be an interesting experience.
If you haven't watched 30 hours of Godless Highway videos, probably, like I have. You may not know that Matt says that he still has a video out there of him as a Pentecostal pastor.
Nice.
And I'm dying to find it, so I might have to look for some Pentecostal dancing.
Yes,
I'll send some your way. I'll find it. We could probably find some of our Glory 2000 stuff, Heather.
Yeah, probably.
I bet it's up.
Stuff of us.
So our community, our church community is different in the sense that, let's see, we don't. This is where I think about church in this corner. That's why I'm looking down there. I'm just, it's not where it should be, right?
I see. Yeah, I was going to say, I see you looking down at it.
Yeah, I feel, but yeah, it's different in the sense that it feels, and maybe some church communities do feel like this, but whenever I've gone to, I think because our church is linked to our school, we are raised and taught and preached to by all the same people. And so it's our family. These are our mentors. These people are our life. We go to, children's church, and we go to youth group, and we have dance team on Wednesday. And our taekwondo instructor is one of the worship leaders, and our every single one of our teachers is a leader in the church or has some kind of voice in the church. And so it's so interconnected that it's difficult to even approach having a relationship with people outside of the church. My best friend is non-Christian, and she's a Christian, but she doesn't go to church, and she smokes a lot of weed. So, but
is it Heather?
What? I wish when I was a Christian, Heather smoked a lot of weed. That would be like
I wish that person.
Right. I was definitely that person. I didn't smoke weed though. I mean, not till okay, I did a little bit, but not. Hey, Obama did it. Okay, hey, so
thanks, Obama.
Always comes back to Obama. So anyway, yeah, I have non-Christians that are slightly in other churches, and there's just not this sense of bubble. Right. They interact with, the high school. And so they see a lot more than we do. Even the other Christian school that's in our neighborhood I don't think it's linked to a church. Right, Heather?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So you don't have that. The people who are preaching to you are also, your mentors and your teachers and your whole life. So that's how I felt. Our church was different.
Yeah. So I also feel that way. And then I will also add that our church is different and unique because we have so much freedom to have these spiritual experiences that are high energy, and it's really fun. Everyone should come to our church. Our church is awesome. You can have fun dancing. We get audience participation a lot of times. We have our music's upbeat. Our pastor's non-conventional, a non-conventional pastor. He's very personable and sort of anecdotal in his sermons. And yeah, I would also so there's freedom for the Holy Spirit to move in our church, which makes our particular denomination special. We don't adhere to formal rituals that are stifling to the movement of the Holy Spirit.
What kind of rituals are you thinking of specifically?
So I went to a Catholic school while I was also attending our church. So
for shame.
So there's so the Catholic Church is this is so hard for me to answer as this persona because okay, anyway. I was gonna step out for a minute, but I better not. Okay, so the Catholic Church is very steeped in ritual, and so what happens is you don't get to commune personally with God because the rituals and the fact that there are intercessors like priests and saints and the Virgin Mary prevent you from feeling like you have a personal relationship with God, and our church doesn't believe that. We believe that we can communicate directly with God, and we do have some. There are some consistencies in our service from service to service, but they're fairly loose, and there's not a lot of emphasis on like sitting and standing at the right time, and we don't sing the same exact songs at the same time. For each point, like in a Roman Catholic service. So there's more, and often our worship team will, if they're sensing the Spirit moving, they will like extend worship for longer than
which our pastor hates.
Yes,
Oh, yeah?
yes, he does. He does, but it happens a lot. I would say probably about once a month.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that opens up a whole bunch of questions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well then, so that makes a lot of sense. With the not having like the Mother Mary like in the way more or less of your personal relationship with God. But do you? So I guess this is a two-part question to really get it out to be most answerable. Is Jesus still in the way? Not in the way, but because he says that no one gets to the Father, but through me.
I mean, they're the same. Yeah.
Okay, that's the other part. Is like, how do you look at the what's it called? The Trinity, the Holy Ghost, Father, Son. If that's even something that you look at, then how do you interpret it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So
Heather's more of the apologist, so she can definitely take this.
we believe, so we believe that the three elements of the Trinity are equal and are equally part of God. So we are not Arminians. We do believe that Jesus was not a like sub-deity of God, but actually is God incarnate. And we do believe absolutely in the Holy Spirit, and not just in the Holy Spirit as a kind of symbolic, metaphorical entity like Roman Catholicism, for example. So Roman Catholicism does acknowledge the Holy Spirit, but they don't believe in having like a communal experience with the Holy Spirit. But we believe that we can, because the Holy Spirit is an extension of God. So just to reiterate, Christ, yes, we believe that Christ is God, is a part of God. And therefore he's not an intercessor, because he is God.
Right. He is God. Yeah. Right. So we say dear Jesus, but we are still speaking to God.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Is it though?
So, right? So would you still call him the Son of God then, if he is God?
Yeah. So
it makes the song sound better.
It makes the song sound better.
Yeah.
I know it, and I'm gonna transform my life because of the tambourine. So I really can't argue with that.
Yeah, I don't know, Chrissy, if you remember more of the details of the theology. There is a complicated theological reason behind this, but essentially it's the idea that Jesus is both, he is God, but he is also the Son of God.
Right. And because God didn't, if you think about it, God didn't come down. God holy didn't come down and die for our sins. Part of God.
Yeah.
came down and died for our sins.
Right, because he still prayed to God too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's sort
Yeah,
of like he did become human though. So you're right. So there was a separation between them at that point, but it was still like if my arm or even my consciousness went away, but then came back, and it was me and my body again, like together, and my memories. And so I think it's sort of, I mean, not that God lost his consciousness when Jesus came down, but that's sort of the idea that I think about. It's like if you slip away, so if people who die for a couple minutes and then come back, you can think of it kind of like that, except God was still aware of what God wasn't human. It's not like Jesus had to monitor everything on earth,
Right.
Yeah.
He would have gone crazy.
For real.
Yeah.
He did hear voices though.
Yeah, and he did. Yeah.
Whose voices did he hear then?
I think it's Satan, right?
Rabbit trail.
Satan was trying to in the desert.
Yeah, Satan did tempt him. Yeah.
Satan bumped into him, and
Yeah.
Did he like whisper in his ear, like from behind?
I'm not really sure how it went. The Bible doesn't.
It doesn't clarify, does it?
No,
clarify.
yeah, because it essentially just says that Jesus went out into the desert and he was tempted by Satan, and Satan shows him visions.
Mhm.
So, like the logistics of how that worked, right? Like, was it like a little, devil whispering in his ear? Yeah, or was it actually? Did he come in human form? Yeah, the Bible isn't clear in that, but that's like a lot of things in the Bible. It's pretty ambiguous. I've seen some very interesting interpretations in like Christian movies and books of this moment, and like, what is the devil, look like?
I like to think she looks like the Bedazzled version with Brendan Fraser, with Elizabeth.
I haven't seen that.
Yes, with the nanny, with Fran Drescher.
No, I'm thinking of a different one.
Wait a minute, Bedazzled doesn't have Fran Drescher in it?
No, not the one I'm thinking of. No,
damn it,
the one with Brendan Fraser and.
I know what you're talking about. Oh no! Yes. Right.
It's Elizabeth someone.
Hottie. Yes, is Elizabeth Hurley. Hottie. Did I say that? I'm
Yeah,
sorry, Elizabeth. I didn't mean
She's
to.
a hottie.
She's
I want to see this.
I've never seen it.
It's good.
I've always wanted to watch it. But.
It's not Rotten Tomatoes good, but it's good.
What does Rotten Tomatoes know anyway?
Rotten Tomatoes knows everything.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm pretty sure they're atheists.
They're the only authority on movies.
the one authority.
The true skeptics.
Them and Steven Spielberg. Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, just when you say that he tempted Jesus out in the wilderness.
He definitely didn't tempt God. That would be different, right? So it's definitely different. Yeah. Yeah, because God would be like, "What the shit, dude? I thought I knocked you out like 40 years ago."
Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to get into heaven.
Right.
Exactly.
I think that's the explanation behind that. Is that because Jesus inhabited a corporeal body, he was able to be subjected to the temptations of Satan as well as like bodily.
I wonder if he showed him like porno videos.
Right. Those are the visions.
I've always wondered that because Jesus lived until he was 33. Question. I mean, like he's what was he like when he was a teenager?
Well, they kind of skipped that part.
Conveniently.
Well, he was devout, right? He read a lot of Torah.
Yeah, but I'm saying just like, did he at least think about sex though?
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Did Jesus think about sex? That's such a fun. I bet he did.
I mean, if you read the Dead Sea Scrolls, he did.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, right, because doesn't he take a wife in them?
Something like that, or he pulls like a woman from his side.
Oh, nice.
As he's up on a mount with Mary Magdalene. I've only heard Godless Engineer talk about this, but he says it so well, and it just ends with him ejaculating in his hand and then eating it and saying something about some like remembrance of him. And I'm like,
do this in remembrance of me.
Yeah, something like that. Just like, wow.
I do say his name
Jesus.
sometimes. I can't lie.
Say what?
I said I do say his name sometimes. So
Yeah.
I can't lie.
I got in trouble for that. I don't remember who it was. It was someone on Twitter. They were Arena someone, and I said like, "Oh my God" to someone's tweet, and they're like, "I should have known." I'm like, "Right? Isn't this funny?" And she came back with, "No, you're not a real atheist," or something like that, because I say "Oh my God" or I say
capitalized
Jesus
G.
like
I capitalize Christian G.
G, do you?
Yeah, for God. Yeah, I capitalize it. But it's like a blasphemous for atheists.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's so ingrained in us, though. Yeah, I do that too.
I do it to I actually do it on purpose to to
Interesting.
say to Christians, your thoughts are not invalid in my eyes necessarily.
Necessarily.
oh, sorry. My cat, in case you guys can't tell, we have another member of this hangout.
We just got 15 more people in the
yeah.
Cat? Kitty cat?
Yes. Got that one.
Hilarious. I'm sorry. Once
it's
again.
okay. All right. Well, before we move on, I just want to put in everyone's mind real quick, and if anyone can make a GIF of this for me, that'd be fantastic. Just Elizabeth Hurley coming up behind Jesus in the wilderness and just being like, "Hey, baby." That was the temptation.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Ooh.
Now, from there, I suppose we'll move on.
That would work though, right?
I would.
You
think
have to
so.
be super pure, like to be
especially back
no,
then.
Elizabeth, not now. We'll see each other in the kingdom of heaven, and then we can do it all the time.
Like he turns around, and he's like, "Be gone! Are those arms? Are those legs?"
Heyo.
Oh wow.
That's legit what happens to us all the time, though.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not really fair.
Yeah.
I'm innocent.
Whole new world. All right. Again, attempting to move on. I do love like going down the rabbit hole on any subject.
Especially sex. That's not really a rabbit hole, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Forgive me.
I'm no. Also,
no.
I put a screen capture of that face. I do the same thing. Just like, hey, did you hear my pun? Yeah, you got it. All right. So let's go back to the beginning a little bit, because I like to see how literal everyone takes Genesis, because I feel like everyone has a pretty different take on it. And it'd be really cool if the two of you had any kind of different take on it, since you were in the same community, or anything really. But Genesis really is my fancy. So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Any problem with that?
Oh, and we're still answering in character, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. No problem with that. I agree.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's all good. Okay. I mean, of course, in the beginning. Wait a minute. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Way back then?
Oh, no. Wait, I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same start point.
The beginning.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And then
if he could create the earth, why didn't he just write the fucking Bible there and then?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you would think it would be.
Anyway, sure. Let's go
better.
back.
Yes.
We wouldn't be able to read it.
Right. Just be written in light.
Yeah.
Now think of a neon Bible. Anyone?
Hell yes.
God writes in neon.
That would be amazing.
God damn. Anyways.
Arcade Fire has the song called Neon Bible.
Who does?
Oh.
Arcade Fire.
I don't know who that is, but
Oh, they're like, I think they're like an indie band.
Okay. Neon Bible?
Mhm. I don't know if
Someone
it's
get me
good.
that.
I just looked it up. I wanted to see if there was a neon Bible so I could buy it for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the sentiment.
I'm sure that exists on
we
the
all need a
internet.
neon Bible.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. So Genesis, were you going to continue?
Yes. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So God created the earth in what, 6 days? I never know how to say it because like he worked for 6 days, he rested on the 7th, he finished on the 8th. So I don't so I guess how do you say it? I like to say he created the earth in 6 or 7, 8 days. But how would you say it? Because a lot of people just say the 6-day creation.
Yeah, that's what I believe. Yeah, that he, he worked for 6 days, and then rested, and that's why we have Sunday, because that's the day God rested.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here, except there's sort of a little bit of interpretation on what days means if in the Hebrew or Greek or whichever one it was written in. I think it was Hebrew for Genesis. So there was some question to the theology of what days actually is, and so it can either lend itself to I don't know, I don't remember what the different theologies of that were, but I do remember there was some forgiveness there in terms of like evolution could possibly still be a thing because of that. So that since I'm older and have spent more time in university and such, I do try to look at the Bible from that point of view.
So then what kind of discrepancies are you talking? Like, because I know somewhere else in the Bible it says that a day on earth is 1,000 years with God or in heaven. So is that kind of what you're referring to, or just more like longer days?
I don't remember. I think it was a word thing. I don't remember.
I know. Yeah, I subscribe to the belief, and this is certainly a belief that I got from some of the people in our church, which is that it could mean a day in 24 hours, or it could mean a day in 1,000 years, but it ultimately doesn't matter because the point is that God did create the earth.
Right. And 6 days for him might just be, I mean, like he lives forever. So like an ant, 6 days for an ant is like way different than 6 days for us. So.
Right. So that's what I say to people. It's great. Yeah, it's true.
Everyone take a drink. Everyone take a drink. Drink a drink.
Yeah,
I always forget to make this a spoken role, but for my viewers, I hope you know by now that I really like to take a drink when one of you, the interviewees, say something as an argument or as an excuse or something, and you're just like, God, I just can't take it. I'm just like, oh, this is hard. If you say this is hard, it's like, oh, it is. It is hard. That's
very nice.
It is why we are not so faithful anymore. Very true to it. But so pushing the matter just a little bit further, because we mentioned evolution. Would it matter to you, Heather, if you found that the one day on earth is 1,000 years in heaven? So it took 8,000 years. We'll say 8,000 years for God to create the earth and everything on it. Would then you subscribe more to evolution, or would you still absolutely rule that out, assuming that you ruled that out?
I would. Yeah, so I still would fundamentally, ultimately believe that God created the earth, but I do think that there's a way to account for evolution as part of that narrative, because it just, if we find evidence that, like, I don't know, a fossil is 1,000,000 years old, well, then it just means that the days in the Bible are not literal days. And I believe that the evolution within species is a natural part of science. The thing that I do not believe and I'm very skeptical of, as a Christian fundamentalist, because it's not in the Bible and because there's very little evidence for this, is that I'm skeptical of, man coming from monkeys and like the interspecies evolution. But sure, evolution, like adaptation, within the species, I would be on board with that. And again, I would be on board with a less literal understanding of how long it took for God to create the earth.
Yeah, and I mean, when I was young, my church didn't think that, but now that I'm older, I have adapted some more loose ideas of what that means for me as a Christian woman at 25.
The ripe young age of 25.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Then we'll move on a little bit. Just a little bit. Adam and Eve. Do you believe that Eve was Adam's first wife?
Yeah.
Asking about the Catholic. Isn't there like another wife?
Yeah, Lilith. Was the
Lilith.
thing. And I don't know much about it at all. But
Oh, okay. I thought that was after, but I'm pretty sure the Lilith mythology is after the Garden of Eden, right? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I heard it was before, but I've never been a
okay.
Catholic. So
Okay, yeah. So
real bad Catholic.
I don't know that much about Lilith. Yeah, the Roman Catholic, at least like mainstream Roman Catholicism doesn't, or at least the church and school I went to didn't really talk about it either. So the only thing I know about her is when she will crop up often in mythology and lore as a way to explain like why a vampire exists, or these kinds of monstrous creatures that they're supposedly descendant from Lilith. But yeah, I'm not sure of what the actual, like, where the book actually is. So yes, I believe that Eve was the first and only wife of Adam.
Ditto. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then whatever happened to Cain?
What happened to Cain?
Yeah. What in your faith ever happened to Cain?
He killed Abel.
Yes. What
happened to him eventually?
Oh,
I don't remember.
Because he was cast out and he was cursed. So what happened to that line?
Oh yeah, I know what year. Okay, so we believe that the curse was not not necessarily a literal thing. So I don't believe that, he had some sort of mark on his forehead or something like that, but that it's just the curse is just the guilt that he felt for sinning. Yeah. So that's what I think.
Because it was something like a brown thumb, and the way I heard it was a crooked nose or something like that.
Interesting.
I don't remember. Brown thumb's funny though. Like Cain can't grow flowers. So.
Yes.
Makes sense.
And whenever yeah, and that's where hunters and gatherers came from.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I mean, I know that unfortunately in white supremacist ideology, that's one of the things that that ideology subscribes to, is that like the mark of Cain is a racial marker, and it's a way to justify why white people.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now.
And that was also used to support American slavery. That was one of the justifications. So
they're murderers anyways, so
I'm not entirely sure.
So I've heard a few different things on that, and when Jen with one N was on last week, she said that when she was growing up, her mother told her that that's where black people came from. It's because Cain went off. He slept with like a gorilla. Not black people, and they're all from sin, and just like, and
That's horrible. That's
awful.
I don't
Awful.
like that.
Yeah. No. 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 I don't either. I don't know who. I don't know why anyone would like that. I don't know why they would accept that. And like, so many people don't subscribe to evolution, but they think that Cain could go screw a gorilla and make all. I'm like, what?
Well,
It's just-
wait a minute,
there's-
but that still wouldn't work, right?
No.
Species forward, not species backwards.
Right. Yeah. It's just like the two different species.
Yeah.
You can't do that, and just like you literally do not.
Well, you can, but you can't procreate.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You can't
Don't
procreate.
challenge me.
That's what I meant.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just, please. Oh man,
Wow,
it's on the internet forever.
Yeah, this is pretty good. You
Take
just
that small
start.
clip.
Fail, Christian. Fail.
That was awesome though. Christine was just like, sit down.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh.
So to clarify then, what do you most subscribe to for that Cain story? Yeah.
I did think that Cain was black, and now I just don't care. And even as a Christian, yeah, I think the mark in my eyes was just a like he was cast away from the family, and in that time, like the whole family was procreating the earth. So there was sort of this, like, he was not allowed to be part of that process. Although I don't know if they talk about who came from Cain anyway in Numbers or in what's the other Ecclesiastes.
They keep up on his genealogy,
On his
right?
genealogy?
Right then, like
okay.
they follow along
Do they? Okay.
Abel's and Seth's and Cain's, all of them.
Okay, so Cain did get to do it. That's good.
Yeah, he got to do it. Actually,
So,
I think
yeah.
they like named his wife and everything, and she and
I
it didn't
think you're
sound like
right.
a gorilla
Yeah,
name.
actually, I do think it didn't sound like a gorilla name. And Cain married.
And they begot.
That's hilarious. This is terrible.
That's also on the internet forever.
I don't mind making grunting noises on the internet. That's gonna be like somebody's gonna auto tune it.
I want a remix done of this interview.
Yeah, done. Yeah, so but I think it just has to do with, I mean, anytime it's the same as like being a pariah of a family. In my mind, that's what I always thought of when we talked about that Bible story. Was always just, oh, he can't hang out with us anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Bullies on the playground, kind of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, me too. And like I said before, I always thought of it, also as like the symbolic mark. So rather than a like physical, something actually going on with his physical features.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, again for me it was always like the brown thumb thing. It was just like a curse of growing plants, and that's how I looked at it. But that doesn't matter. We're not talking about that. So again, moving on to Noah's flood. Did you guys take that as a literal whole world flood, or
Yeah.
I studied the flood a lot when I was a kid. I loved the flood of Noah because of the fact of the billions of dead things buried under rock layers laid down by water all over the earth. Heather. What?
No,
I got it. So I actually watched documentaries on the thing that they think is Noah's Ark on the top of Mount, I don't remember, Wanahakalugi.
Ararat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I was definitely really interested in in that story. And I wanted to do because we had a science fair and a history fair like every other year. I wanted to do that. I might have done it on the history fair. I might have an old press board thing that talks about Mount Ararat and Noah's Ark. And I was always like 1, 2 of every kind of animal. Like what? Like and then later I kind of said, well, maybe that was before evolution kind of kicked off. So maybe it was 2 of every bacteria that was going to evolve or something. Not really. That's not what I thought. But always
some mental gymnastics.
Maybe it was 1, but there were already a bunch of different kinds of birds. We know that because he sent out a dove and there was also a raven. So
right.
So you've got the birds and then, but I don't know.
How about the dinosaurs?
Well, we believe dinosaurs existed, but we just thought they existed the same time as humans.
Yeah.
You said that they did?
That they did, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was actual Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Right.
So were they on the Ark then, like Ken Ham suggests?
Were they on the Ark?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
I guess I never thought about that. But
not in all my little books. No.
But yeah, presumably they would have had to have been on
depending if they went extinct or not. But yeah, I don't know what the timeline for dinosaurs.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Wait. Now it's all coming back to me.
Okay.
The flood is what caused the dinosaurs to go extinct. That's what I was told.
Oh, okay. So because they were evil.
Yeah, they did exist alongside humans before the flood. But that is the reason why.
It has scales.
Yeah. 5 stars.
Yeah, they're a lizard. Yeah.
They're a lizard, yeah. Exactly.
Even though they're not actually, but anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Actually birds. Anyway.
Well, there are a lot of different, they're reptiles and birds.
Right.
And, yeah.
So
you can't fish.
I'm just going to throw this tidbit in there and then we can leave it. But what about so did he kill all the dinosaurs then?
No.
Except for the Komodo dragon.
And alligators, crocodiles?
Yeah, and alligators.
They can swim, duh.
They can't swim. I'm gonna drink to that one.
So I think what we need to do is go on. Did you guys hear about that? John Oliver did a whole segment on. There's a place. I want to say it's in Kentucky that has supposedly an authentic replica.
Okay.
Of the Ark.
I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. Did you say John Oliver did something on that?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He did a whole segment on it.
1, I love John Oliver. 2,
yeah.
Yes, that's Ken Ham's Ark Park.
Okay.
Ark Encounters, and they're currently beyond our community. They're doing protests out there right now, at the first Saturday of every month until November, because this is their second year in business or whatever, and it's more or less hurting the town rather than helping it.
Yeah.
So I have a fly, but
it's very dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah. He hates me. It's a demon. But yeah. So the reason I wanted to bring it up is because it sounded like an odd question to you, but a lot of people in our community are they know what Ken Ham is, and the dinosaurs on the Ark thing is something we talk about a lot.
Yeah, I remember. The name sounds familiar.
He's the one who did the debate with Bill Nye.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, we should all go spend however much, $50 for a ticket to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, I'm only 4 hours from there.
Do they have the live walking dinosaurs on the Ark there? Because that would be cool. I would do that.
I heard that they wanted to make the Ark a zoo and have like all these animals
Oh,
in there.
no.
So
But
bummer.
but they couldn't. They just one, it like wasn't possible. Two, they just were not allowed by any standards at all. And the ark's like not doing well after a year of being built. Like
I'm not
it's
surprised.
not very structurally sound, and they used like some like
Gopher wood.
Yes. I don't think they could find the gopher.
Well, gopher wood was stacks. It was like little, as far as I know, it was like stacks of tiny wood. Was like bound tiny wood
Oh, gotcha.
that I remember. I don't know.
compound or whatever?
That might have been like one of the, but I also don't know 100% if that was the wood. I just remember it being talked about.
You need to know 100%.
I know I don't. No, I don't. I needed to like 14 years ago. I'm done. I have a kid. I have better things to do. For real.
So
Anyway.
okay, so Ken Ham has been touched on enough. Moving on to Moses. Is there anything different about your take on
Moses? I mean, I've
Is
seen
he
the
your
10
favorite?
Commandments like a billion million times.
Mm.
And
Oh, yeah.
that is totally
Yeah. Now, how many commandments were there?
10, right?
Maybe. Is that right, Heather?
It's 10.
Unless
There's one that
you're,
has 2.
yeah, there's like a two-parter. I'm trying to remember, because no, I can't remember, if there's one that has like 2 components.
I thought there was one that has 2.
Yeah, but I can't remember which one.
All right. Well, yeah, there were like 30 plus commandments on the first like tablets that he went down and like smashed because
Okay.
because golden calf.
Yeah.
And then when he went back to write it word for word exactly the same, he came down with 10.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So he
so
edited. Okay.
Yes. He went up with
Good.
God,
Good for him.
and
Yeah.
God changed his mind and said, no, just
So
these 10
for
are the
him.
only important ones.
Yeah. Well, that's good though. When you can accept, when you look at your work, you got a second chance.
Yeah.
The publisher comes back. This is crap. Bam.
That's right.
And you're like, you know what? 10 is good.
10
And the
is good.
publisher's like, yes.
Yes.
10 is good. Moses is the publisher of God.
I love it. Yes.
I love this. No, you're fine. You're fine. This is fun. So now I haven't asked anyone else this, but I'm going to start. So live chat, listen up. If you ever plan on being on here. Between the two of you, do you know the 10 Commandments?
Oh God. Pun intended.
Yes,
We
because I am still a Christian and I'm 25.
Oh,
So
right.
I do know the
Fresh.
commandments.
Let's hear 'em.
But no,
Oh
I
no.
don't.
Okay,
I
we'll
don't
work
know.
together.
Do you have to go back up to
Okay,
the mount
yes.
real quick and ask?
We can work together. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously the first one, thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kill.
Yes, thou shalt not kill.
Actually, I
thou
think that was number 4. But go
I'm
on.
not.
Oh,
we
do
have to do them in order.
No, you don't.
I
have to
definitely
do it.
can't
No,
do
just
them.
finish it.
Kidding me?
Okay.
This is like a spelling bee.
Yeah.
Look, you started to answer the questions, and then I had to make it harder. Okay.
That's fine. Okay. Idols.
Okay.
Whether no graven images.
Yes.
Is that
So-
separate?
Yes, it actually is. So
Oh,
the
interesting.
no gods
Okay.
before me, no engraven.
Okay.
And then what was the other one you said, Heather?
Oh, thou shalt not kill, and then
Yes.
also I was going to say thou shalt not covet.
Covet. Yes.
Yeah.
Covet thy neighbor's
Covet thy
wife.
neighbor's wife. Yeah. And there's the one about children obey your parents. I remember that one because
yes.
that's the one my mom, whenever I got in trouble, my mom would make me write that scripture out
Gotcha.
like over and over again if I was like being, rebellious or talking. So
because somewhere in there it also says that if you're not obedient and like you are persistently inobedient towards your
Mhm.
parents can take you out to the square and kill you.
What?
Yeah.
I kind of remember.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. It's kind of rough. But anyways, we're halfway there.
Okay.
Is steel one?
Stealing is one.
Yeah, okay.
Mm.
Oh, remember the Sabbath day and keep it
Oh, to
holy.
keep it holy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we're
Holy
getting
seven. Holy seven.
there. Okay.
No, love thy neighbor as thyself, New Testament. Damn it.
Is adultery a separate one from covet thy neighbor's wife?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So how many are we missing? One?
Two.
One,
Two?
two.
Okay.
Two.
La, la, la. God, I don't know.
Don't
I
ask
can't
him. Be like,
Dear
God.
God.
I don't know.
Dear God.
Dear God.
Direct connection.
And then you see the tablet like appear in Heather's hand.
I'd be like, shit, though. I'm taking another drink.
It would be some pretty good, or maybe stop.
Just stop drinking. Just pour it over my head.
Kill, steal, graven images, idol. Wait, is there?
Let's see what the live chats.
I don't know. Yeah, I honestly can't remember the other two.
Once I hear them though.
I know. Then we're gonna be like, oh yeah.
Did we say commit adultery is different? And yeah, no, it is because it is.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I see now. Okay. I
Just look
see
'em
one. I'm two. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. All right, no, yeah.
It's their false witness
Yes.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Mhm.
against
It's
the
separate
neighbor.
from lying for some reason.
Yeah. Oh,
Honor
so
the
is
father
lying.
and mother. Is lying?
Oh, wait. You know what? That is lying. I'm sorry. That was lying. I thought you already said lying, but I
Steal,
was wrong.
commit adultery,
First mistake in my
kill,
life.
honor thy father and mother, Sabbath day to keep it holy. Oh, fuck. Holy God shit. Don't take the Lord's name in vain.
Right.
Oh, yay. Blasphemy.
Yeah.
Which, from what I heard, is the only one that's like unforgivable. Don't take the Lord's name in vain.
And that's unforgivable? I thought that lying to
That's
the
the
Holy Spirit. I thought that lying to the Holy Spirit and offering false gifts to the Holy Spirit was unforgivable sin.
Oh, I
'Cause
haven't heard it.
the two people that were struck down made an offering.
Oh, I vaguely remember
to the
this
Holy
story.
Spirit, and it was like false. It was not what they were supposed to give or something, so they got struck down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
That makes me feel like there's a lot of unforgivable sins, though, because a lot of people were struck down in the Bible. like I think even Moses' sons were like killed for burning the wrong incense in the Holy Temple. Like that was it. He's like, I'll pat it with you. Boom.
But is that like really is that so bad? Or you just get to instantly be with God?
Yeah. Unless you didn't get to go there.
Unless you didn't get to go there, right?
Yeah, because this is the old covenant. This is before the Son of God.
Can you imagine if there was really if I was God, what would be my unforgivable sin? It'd be like having an orgasm before I did. That would be
Oh my gosh, yes.
Unforgivable, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, what could you do that would be so bad? Maybe killing, 6 million Jews would be unforgivable, or 6 million people would probably be unforgivable.
But by some Christian standards, there's worse things.
I know, and I've thought about that a lot, actually, as a Christian.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a few. I mean, you're 25. You've had a little time to think about it.
A little time.
Okay, well, I'd like to segue from that then, because we're already a little over an hour in, and we are not through Genesis, so we're getting a lot of we're getting a lot of good conversation in, though. I think. I hope live chat also thinks that, which I don't know if they think that.
We started with 8, went up to 10, and went down to 8, so probably should keep going.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, we have a good question here, and I'll go ahead and ask it now since we're on the topic. Which is your favorite of the commandments to break?
Oh.
Now that I'm a Christian, 25.
Now that you're an atheist, we'll say that.
Okay.
Break character for just a second.
Probably for me, thou shalt not. Well, I can't bury people in the backyard. Is it that one? No, just kidding. The honor thy father and thy mother is something that I love my mom and dad, but honoring them in the way that the Bible asks us to is not something that I can do because of who they've sort of become. You know what? They're great people. I can't really say that, but it's one that I'm glad isn't a sin anymore because I had a really hard time with that when I was a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. It's the same for me. Obviously a lot of the other commandments I do still keep, probably because of it's a holdover from my upbringing. What did you say?
Like the ones with all the gods in them, we don't keep. So it's really just the last ones that we don't keep the Sabbath holy. You know what I mean? So
yeah, right. That's true. Yeah, I meant like the not stealing and not killing and stuff. But yeah, I also have found a lot of freedom and happiness and contentment in not caring anymore what my parents think about my life choices.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have a amicable relationship with my parents, but there's definitely a distance now, and I don't care. I mean, I really don't care if they do disapprove of a lot of my life decisions, and it's a good feeling to not care and to not feel like I have to be this little child that is respecting them. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, absolutely. Like you get to be your own person a little bit.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and it's just more the so my mom has some like mental health issues, and it just doesn't fit. And so that sort of changes. Like it's like, okay, God, but seriously?
Like really?
Like I love her and all, but sorry, Mom.
Honor?
Sorry, Mom.
Okay, well, I want to try to pick the best questions to go on. So I don't necessarily want to wrap it up unless you guys or ladies are getting like bored or anything. But I do want to go through or past a couple things I usually ask. So do you have a favorite book in the Bible? 25-year-old Christine?
Oh, definitely. Romans.
Romans, why?
Because I never felt like, I'm not Jewish. And I thought that it made some good points for why we should follow God and Christ, and because as heathens, or what were we called, not Jewish, what is that called?
Help Gentiles.
Gentiles, yeah, as Gentiles, I thought that was the best book that was written for us. So yeah, for me it's that one, and also the book of Job is like, that dude's insane.
Yeah.
Right, like just a baller,
off the chain,
God-seeking man. Yeah, right. So
he's like specimen.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with Job. I hate Job so much, especially when I was a Christian, because I was like, you're kidding me. Like, I can't follow God and like my pizza's cold. So yeah. But yeah, those are my faves.
Cool. Awesome. And Heather?
I would have to say Esther, because I just always like a good, and now I'm getting out of the moment for a minute just to say I think it's still a good narrative. But so in the moment, I like Esther a lot because it's an exciting story of a woman's faith being tested, and she's a strong, brave female character, which is nice, and she was very beautiful. So all things that I aspire to be. And I also have to say, I really like Song of Solomon.
Oh, it's
But
sexy.
but it's an allegory, so it's okay to like all the sexy, scenes, because it's actually just an allegory for Christ and the church. So
Right.
And Heather informed me earlier today that they aren't recorded as married.
Yeah, it's just my beloved and my lover.
So they don't, so they may just be doing it early.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and in the cultural context, that makes sense. It's not, it's Solomon and one of his concubines. I mean, that's what the book actually is. So yeah, there's no, there's no way it's like actually about a woman that is married to him. Anyway.
Right. So there's a fun question I haven't asked anyone yet. So I'm just going to throw all the hard questions on you too. So when was the concubine thing abolished specifically?
What? You mean I can't have? You mean sorry, girls?
Oh, you mean
get out?
Polygamy? In the Bible?
Not even specifically polygamy, just like being able to have like just extra bitches on the side, I guess.
I mean, I don't know, but I know that most of the kings had them. I know that so, like David and Saul and Solomon and I don't know what other kings.
It might have been when the king stopped following God.
Yeah, which I guess happened with Solomon's son. I remember there's like a thing about him. Oh no, I guess Solomon himself like starts worshiping pagan gods at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know the actual answer to that.
You think if God granted Solomon wisdom, he would be like, "You don't exist, fool."
Right? Oh my gosh, I love it.
Why didn't that happen?
Descartes.
JK,
I'm kind of skeptical of you.
Yes, right. So
I really want that needs to be in. I'm going to put that in a poem.
On a t-shirt.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it.
Inspirational.
I don't know when concubines didn't exist, but they certainly should still exist now.
Right?
Yeah, for reals.
I love that idea.
I guess they kind of technically do. They just don't call them concubines anymore, right? Or more or less.
Yeah, and maybe like with consent and
yeah,
right. A polyamorous or monogamish consensual relationship.
Monogamish. Yeah. I love that.
I know, I do too.
Beautiful.
I love. Yeah, that's from Dan Savage. I really like listening to the Savage Lovecast, which is Dan Savage's like sex advice. Anyway, and
I've never heard it.
Oh, it's great. He's like so this is tangential, but he is and good. I'm like doing a promo for another. Yeah, Dan Savage is he's an activist in the LGBTQ community. He's an openly gay man, and also has this podcast where he gives sex advice to gay and straight people, and it's just really great because it's very open to like all different kinds of sexuality, and he's very big on sex positivity, consent, all of that. And he's really funny, like he's really snarky, and people will call in with random, sometimes serious questions like about love or something, and then sometimes just really random funny sex questions. So
Heather, I can't believe you listened to that as a 25-year-old Christian female.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, my 19-year-old self would have been appalled as well. So yeah,
for real.
In my 19-year-old, this is my 19-year-old self talking to my current self. I can't believe that you're listening to that garbage. Like that's just promoting fornication, and it's promoting homosexuality, and that's evil. And I'm saving myself for marriage.
I think I'm gay. That through my whole Christian thing was, I think I like women.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so see, I didn't. Yeah. No, it's all good.
Yeah, we're not talking about Genesis anymore.
We're not. Yeah.
Yeah. You go now. Elizabeth Hurley.
Go ahead.
All right.
Life.
So, no, you're
Serious.
winning. You're winning with the concubines.
Shall not orgasm before me. I'm telling you.
Shall
Go
not.
ahead.
What's the consequence of that? Hold on, we'll get back to it. Think about it. So now I want to get to more of the like controversial topics, if we can. So where should we start?
Abortion.
Go
ahead, you go.
Abortion. Yeah.
Do you ask about it?
I'm sorry.
You ask about it?
I was going to ask because you said I think I like women. So I was going to go with that first.
Oh, nice. That's fine too. Yeah, go ahead. Homosexuality rocks.
Homosexuality rocks. So did it rock when you were 19, 25, anywhere in between if you hit any of those ages?
So Heather and I have a podcast about this. Do we? We didn't do our sexuality podcast yet.
No, we're
got
it.
You teased about it though.
We did a Women of Deconversion about this. And so we do talk about it a little bit, where each one of us, except for Courtney, says we're bisexual, which is kind of funny. And she's like,
Courtney,
no,
get in the game.
Well, no, she can stay out of the game. It's okay. She doesn't want to be in the game. I don't want her to be in the game. I'd like it to be narrowed down to people who are willing. like, please just don't give me the whole pot. Just the lobsters that want to be in there, please. So,
it's a strange analogy, but go on.
Yeah, I don't know. Frogs, I guess, is better, right?
Oh yeah,
well, that's the analogy we got growing up. Yeah, our pastor
frogs in the pot.
Yeah, being a lukewarm Christian. And
is he from like Alabama or what?
California.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the frogs came from.
Oh no, it's because it's in the Bible. Oh yeah, no, I don't know I also don't know that in the Bible there's a verse about being lukewarm as a Christian, and then he somehow heard this fact about frogs where if you put a frog in a lukewarm pot of water and then you slowly turn up the heat, they don't jump out.
Because they like it. Yeah,
it was a very morbid analogy, to basically say you shouldn't be a lukewarm Christian.
Gotcha.
So I just used a morbid analogy to talk about women who are interested in me. Yeah, so we're all there. So when I was young,
the water's great.
I had some homosexual friends, very, very effeminate women or men, who were lovely. But and I was very open with them. I am very open with them about how I disagree with their lifestyle, but still showed them love. And Heather and I are very different. We're in this way. She is not as comfortable talking to people about homosexuality and things.
I obviously just feel like I need to do a disclaimer because this makes me really uncomfortable, but this is not reflective of my current views. But
that's fair.
In character, I believe, I don't have any gay friends because I think they would be a bad influence on me. And
she doesn't know about.
And also myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Christine in the pool just turning up the temperature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come here.
So I think gay friends would
I need to shut up.
Yeah, now I'm in the pot. Okay. So gay friend I don't have any gay friends. And I still think that you should love everyone because God has called us to love everyone, but I fundamentally disagree with the lifestyle choice that someone who is gay is making, and I believe that it's a sin. I believe it's unnatural because in Romans 1, there's a Bible verse that talks about where Paul is reprimanding a certain group of members. I don't remember of what city.
Val?
And huh? What did you
Val?
say?
Val?
Oh, okay, Val. Oh yeah.
Is that it?
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds
Maybe. Is that sound right? Yeah. And anyway, and he uses the word, he talks about women and men having sexual relations with each other, and he calls it unnatural. So, because I'm interpreting the Bible literally as a good, good Christian fundamentalist, I believe that. And so I believe that being gay is unnatural and deviant. And I also worry that, if we start allowing gay people to get married and have all these rights, then like what's going to happen to the family? It's going to get destroyed. And what's next? We're going to like let pedophiles, marry children because, like it's just such a slippery slope. So I'm also not in favor of letting gay people get married or have any other legal rights that are associated with marriage.
Oh, God.
And yeah, and I
It
also
hurts your stomach, doesn't it, Heather?
yeah, it does.
It like hurts me inside to hear her say this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I really believe this. I said this in a college class. I said
Believed. She said believed, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Disclaimer. Believe atheist flashback. Like
Yeah.
I was super open. I really didn't. I was just waiting, I think. Since I'm a Christian, I feel like I'm just waiting to be an atheist.
Yeah.
Yeah, my whole life has just been me waiting to be an atheist. Because I didn't. God hates homosexuality.
Yeah.
It was big in our group. But that didn't, I don't think. We had a couple homosexuals visit the church, and we weren't. There was no we didn't cast them out or judge them. And even now, people who come out don't feel like the people in our church don't love them. Right, Heather? Or I guess the people in our community, because a lot of the people in our church have left and are still our friends, but are not necessarily part of the church. So it's hard to think about.
Yeah, I guess I just can't really answer that because I don't know what it would be like to have that experience of being gay in our church. Because at the time that I was part of our church, I identified as straight.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, but anyway, but I do remember. Yeah, I definitely remember lots of what I would absolutely consider to be very homophobic language and rhetoric in our church, unfortunately, in all sorts of subtle ways.
Gotcha. Okay. I'd like to ask you more specifically, Heather. I actually share my thoughts on it and then have you kind of give me a little more feedback on it. Christine, did you watch Kyle Curtis's Flashback with me?
Mm-mm.
No,
you only gave me Matt's and Shannon's.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
I didn't. I haven't explored your channel fully, although I probably will after this.
Cool. Yeah, me too.
My insomnia.
Well, when I talked to Kyle Curtis, I more or less announced that that I also shared those views when I was Christian, and I don't anymore. I don't I'm completely fine with anyone being gay or pansexual or whatever they want to be or trans. But it took me a long drawn out while to really start to accept it. Talking to Kyle, because do you know who Kyle is?
No, we're not. No, we're not. Does he have a handle that we might know?
Him and Steve run the Non Sequitur show.
Okay. Then I sort of know who he is. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't. She's getting her PhD, and I'm a mom of someone who's 3. So we do as much as we can in terms of supporting other people's content, but it's really tough.
Gotcha. Yeah, and the non sequitur show is not easy because they have something like new every night, and they go from like an hour to 3. But so Kyle, he's gay, and he's been gay ever since he was a small child. He's like realized it, and he grew up Baptist, and it was super duper not okay. And he would like put it down as he was gay. And then after he came out of the closet and like accepted it, very soon after he also became an atheist. So he had to give his family a double whammy, and he actually like lost no one like important in his life, like no friends lost. It was really, really great for him, and now he can just be himself, and he's really happy with it. But I also shared that I was pretty homophobic back when I was a Christian fundamentalist, also myself, and it's weird because I still get sometimes that first
initial
feeling.
the initial. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it
Like that
for
jerk.
homosexuals, but I certainly get it for
Trans or any.
No, not it doesn't, not regarding sexuality, but I know what you're saying. I have that feeling for others sinning.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
totally. Yeah, it's really hard to shake.
Yeah, it is, because it's like something that's instilled in you, and it feels awful. Like because
abortion. Yeah, that's what it's mine is for abortion.
Abortion. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know. It's just I think that it's like hard to deal with sometimes, because I don't like, because there's such a vast community here in this atheist community, like on Twitter and YouTube, that I'm a part of, and you're becoming a part of. Like,
just watch more gay porn, dude.
I know.
It rocks, for one.
Jeez, I can't.
Awesome.
I don't think I could do that. I think like that's my line. I don't think I could do it.
I love gay porn.
Just like I mean, like I could watch lesbian porn all day. That's fine. But like I can't watch, like, just not into penises and buttholes.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah,
but
there's some stuff though. Look, we gotta. I'll show you.
Yeah, show me.
It can be fun, yeah, and even that like is a result of socialization, and you know, and I do this too. But yeah, I mean, like, we also live in a culture in which watching two women have sex is more acceptable,
right,
for a straight audience,
right?
You know, incredibly problematic, but yeah,
there's definitely a double standard there, and there shouldn't be. But yeah, I get that.
I'll heal you.
You'll heal me.
I'll heal you. We'll save you.
Yeah, gay porn. I also really like gay porn. I actually very rarely watch straight porn, even though I'm bisexual, so I do enjoy having sex with men. But straight porn, to me, there's so many other problems with it. Like, and again, it obviously depends. There is some good stuff out there, but there's a lot of shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Heather, I'll also introduce you to some good straight porn.
Cool.
Good.
Cool. Let's just have a porn workshop.
Let's just call me Pornhub.
Let's
just call you porn.
Let's just call me
the embodiment of Pornhub.
Yeah.
And if you come before me.
Yeah. No, I was so happy when I found porn and felt not horrible about watching it. Yeah, and there are a lot of women, Heather, who like gay porn. I've read a lot about it, and it's like I think it's our escape from straight porn,
toxic masculinity.
Yeah. There are several articles and some peer-reviewed literature actually on it that I can talk to you about. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Because I'm like, hey, is it okay for me to like gay porn? Like, is that
and there's also a thing I know with gay women. I have some lesbian friends who really like male gay porn.
God, imagine if we were talking to ourselves. Just imagine, Heather, if we were talking to ourselves from then.
I know. I know. Yeah.
I mean, what?
Yeah,
I mean, first of all, I would be totally understandable. I'd be like, yeah, of course she fucking watches porn. Of course.
Yeah. No, I would be like horrified that even just the thought of watching porn. And actually, I said this in our podcast earlier today, but I did not start watching porn. I didn't watch porn at all until I was 24. So not that long ago. And so and this was like after I had deconverted and after I'd gotten a master's degree and, like a lot of other things had happened in my life. But there was definitely like you were talking about that with the hang up for me, like just the thought of watching porn was a big one for me. Like it was hard for me to get past that. Once I got past it, then it became something I enjoyed, but it took me a while.
Gotcha. Yeah. And it's just odd. I don't know. I feel like everyone thinks it's odd, like for them, like however you go about it. Because I feel like I started at a younger age, but I don't know what the normal age for is it. But I started with like lesbian porn because I just like didn't want to see any penises. And then like I graduated to straight porn like later on when I grew up.
We'll get you through graduate school.
Oh, great. Awesome. Will I get like a PhD in Pornhub?
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
I wish, man.
You wish you could just steal those out.
So much. Yeah.
Well, you could do it.
You'd be very sought after. So many people would come before you.
You could be a sex therapist.
It's not okay. It's a wrong thing. Unforgivable.
No,
I always wanted to become a sex therapist.
You to not come before you.
Even when I was a Christian, and I mean, fuck it.
That's the point.
Even when I was a Christian, I wanted to be a sex therapist. I thought that there was real beauty in sex, and that people really, especially people that I knew, older women in the church who said they didn't enjoy sex. It really hurt me because I was like, no, they should be enjoying sex. Like they need that. I always wanted to be a relationship counselor thing. So yeah, sure. I'll talk about sex for, that's what, if I could podcast, that's probably what I should be podcasting about. Definitely. I am podcasting, but I just forgot that was my calling, really. So now I'm talking about atheism, which is almost the same.
It's an umbrella.
So all related.
Piggybacking on that just a little bit. How do you feel about casual sex then? Like now? Like, how do you feel about casual sex?
Oh, that's not fair. This is our podcast.
Yeah. It's great. We're all warmed up.
Yeah.
Don't tell everything, Heather. Just leave them with a little some.
Yeah. Well, I'll do the foreplay. And
foreplay.
Yeah.
I wish it was more fun. Our podcast is not this fun. This one, but maybe we should do one that's a little more fun because this is a blast.
Yeah, I think we can do a part 2 on sex. Yeah. So, and this is the fun part anyway. The how do we feel about it now? So now I really enjoy casual sex as long as it's within a specific parameter, which for me is like I'm traveling and I have a sexual experience with someone that I'm never going to see again. And it's consensual and there's they respect me and all that. So I don't do like in between, like friends with benefits or anything like that. Well, so I either do like monogamous dating or these casual sexual encounters. But yeah, I do enjoy casual sex in that context. And I've had some fun experiences. I had some, and they're always like in other cities. So I think there's probably also it's probably also has something to do with like me psychologically that when you're in a new place, you just feel more bold and sort of more confident. I've had a threesome with 2 men when I was in Berlin. I've hooked up with someone in Belgium. I've hooked up with people in England. I used to live in England, so I had a hookup in New Orleans a few months ago. Yeah, I know. It's just like, so that's not foreign, but that's like different city. That's not the city that I live in. So anyway, it works for me, but it doesn't, but it's like it's in that specific context. Like
So then, before you go, Christine, to be clear, sit down. I hear myself laughing in the background. I hate it. But that echo. For clarity.
Yeah.
If you are in a relationship with someone, because you're not right now, right?
I'm not right now.
Not right now. If you are in a relationship, then other casual sex, is that completely off the table, or is that something you would talk to your partner about? Do you believe in any kind of open relationships? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the past, when I've been in a relationship, it has been traditional monogamous, but I'm not opposed to doing a monogamish kind of relationship. I would definitely be open to that. I would definitely talk to my partner. And basically, monogamish is a little bit different than like being, it's a kind of variation on the open relationship.
Did you not make up that word?
No, Dan Savage made up that word.
Oh, that's right. You said that. Well, either way, I need you to make me a shirt.
I know, it's great, right?
It's
It just works so well. Yeah, I love it. I use this term all the time. Yeah. So anyway, so the definition of monogamish is that you are socially monogamous with someone. So like you're in an official relationship and you are emotionally monogamous. And you just have an understanding and it's you have consent with your partner, like you work through and talk about the parameters and decide together. And it just depends on the couple. If I were going to do it, I would do it exactly as I just described. It would be something like when I'm traveling, then there's an understanding but that would be the only context. Like I wouldn't be interested in, like bringing someone, hooking up with someone in the house that I was living in with my partner, unless it was a threesome, which I would do that too, but that's different. So I'm definitely not opposed to trying those things. I definitely don't think there's anything wrong with it. I haven't tried them yet though. I have only at this point had monogamous relationships. So we'll see.
All right. Cool. Awesome answer. Thank you. Christine, you can stand up.
Okay, but I thought we were having
fun. I mean, you can talk again.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I
know.
know.
So, as a Christian 25-year-old woman, casual.
Was that what we're supposed to do?
Oops. Yeah, I know you're.
Well, I definitely did not respond.
Heather's so atheist, she can't theist.
Wait, say it again. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was saying as a 25-year-old Christian woman.
Actually, I was asking as an atheist.
Oh, how you think now as casual sex
now?
now?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So I'm bouncing back and forth now.
All right.
So I answered correctly. That's good.
Hold on a second.
I think I knew the answer for the other one.
No, actually, you probably didn't.
No,
but that's okay. But it's all right.
You can give me both.
Yeah. So
Talk away.
So I was gonna say, casual sex is okay for my partner if they don't agree. This is as a Christian, if they don't agree with my beliefs, because I'm going to stay pure until I'm married. But their sexual drive is separate from mine, and I want to respect that and their views. I was very careful about that when I was a Christian.
That falls in line with your other views. Like your views are very consistent.
Thank you. Thanks. That's the one thing that's consistent about me. But now, if I had casual sex, my boyfriend would be a little mad. With a man, with a woman, we have an open relationship.
Gotcha.
I can be with. Well, we have to talk about it a little bit, and we both, with women, both of us, which is kind of bullshit, but. But it's fine. I mean, I've been a little bit more adamant about him not being with women just because I can't be with men. But he can be with men, but he has no desires. This is really complicated. It's a really dynamic conversation. So casual sex is okay if your partner says that it's okay. And if you're not with a partner, then yeah, fuck it. Just be careful and safe, and don't be dumb,
right?
And don't be careful of people's consent too. Consent is so important. So
yeah, absolutely.
But I fucking would love casual sex. I would have sex all the time if I wasn't with my boyfriend. I would seriously I would be like, I don't know. I wouldn't even really care about STDs. No, that's a joke, but but for real, like I miss it so much.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even that promiscuous after I deconverted. But it's just something that it's just being with people sexually is almost like having a great cup of coffee with someone, you know.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Like I'm learning you and I can't get enough.
Right. It's a different level of like connecting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's neat. It is different even than having a cup of coffee with someone, but it's
My
just
boyfriend doesn't drink
special
coffee.
in some way. No, that's
Not
crazy.
Not
Except
a lot.
neither do I. Like you'll hear that in my other episodes. I'm not gonna lie to you now. I hate coffee.
Yeah.
I actually met my wife in a coffee shop.
Oh, that's cute.
And
That's cool,
and also my like martial arts instructors where I played open mics. And all of that's in a coffee shop, but I hate coffee.
Yeah. We don't have a coffee maker, so I feel you. So yeah.
Yes.
But coffee was a metaphor for sex there.
Yes. We'll see. Mine would just be like hot chocolate with whipped cream. But that's also how I like my coffee is hot chocolate.
With hot chocolate and no coffee. I got you.
Light on the coffee, please.
All right, cool.
All right, so let's just slip right into abortion. There's no segue.
Oh, okay. Slip into abortion with no segue.
Yes.
That's what she said.
Yeah. And it is related. Yeah. Casual sex. Oh, this is as my Christian self. This is exactly why casual sex is bad, because then it leads people to get pregnant and then they.
But Heather, what about rape and incest? I know you're the interviewer, Max. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to pull that one.
No.
I was just gonna say, so rape is terrible, but I still believe that God intends for life to exist. So if someone's pregnant, then it's because God intended it and it's going to be beautiful and they need to accept it and have the baby.
Mac, will you please drink some wine for me?
Yeah, I was grabbing it right now for you.
Yeah.
Because your eyes rolled pretty far back in your head.
Yeah, almost. I was like, please. I was like, yeah, need to drink some wine. So, this is tough. When I was young, I was adamantly against abortion. So yes, I am adamantly, as a 25, everybody gets it.
Yes.
I am adamantly against abortion. I think that life is such a beautiful gift that 9 months of pregnancy is not so much to pay, even in regards to rape and incest. However, even though I'm a Christian and I think that for myself, although I'm really glad that never happened to me, at least to that extreme. I do understand and will offer understanding and love to someone who has gone through that. It is not something I condemn because I can understand something being taken out of your body is harsh. So as a Christian, I still think that, that is okay. Now, as an atheist, my boyfriend and I have had a really hard time with our daughter in terms. She's great. She's easy. And not a lot of people can say that. But in terms of our relationship, if I had a baby right now, it would be something that I would fight with. And that was never, ever, ever, ever true before. Ever. Like that, it would be a absolutely no. Our relationship would end before I gave up that child, and happily. But now it's a conversation, and it's something, and this has changed in such a huge way from where I started, and also fuck all of the people who say that a woman doesn't have rights over her own body. And I love Christians, and you've heard me, everyone has heard me, but like, get the fuck away from my body or someone else's like body and their rights, because it's not okay. You have no idea what their situation is. and you have no idea, like, where they came from has a lot to do with whether or not they would make that decision. And you cannot judge someone from their whole life. You know what I mean? Like, if they grew up thinking that was okay and that was, one of the options that they had, then give them that option and back off. So yeah, happy Christine now.
Well said. No, I concur. I think that that's how it should be looked at. Like, the rights should be there, and I don't particularly like the idea of abortion. Like,
I don't really either, but it's
right, but I don't have to. We don't have to. There are absolutely cases where it is more necessary than it is not, and you don't always you very, very rarely get to decide if it's the case or not. It's like only with you do you get to decide if that's the case or not. Right. So I don't think there really should be. I don't want to go as far as to say there shouldn't be any laws about it, because I feel like there should be maybe some kind of regulation. Like, if someone goes in like every month for an abortion, just like, wow, something shitty here. But yeah. I don't know.
I think like in terms of like the age of the child, I have had some like thought about, okay, does life begin at conception, or does life begin when they have a nervous system, when they can feel pain, or when their heartbeat begins. And there's a lot of people think when they take their first breath, but I mean, you can't look at sonograms at late months and not think that that's if that progressed the same way that it wasn't going to be a baby. And so it is tough. It is tough to sort of stick that label, like, in terms of where that is. And I think the only way we can really do that is by taking science to the next into this and saying, okay, well, this is when they have nerves and can feel pain, and this is when their heartbeat begins. And then collectively as a society, as a secular society, think about where that line should be, because I don't know, is the baby's life more important than the mom's life? And I'm not talking just about health. I'm talking about like quality of life. And so it's an interesting topic, and one that I didn't explore this much when I was a Christian.
Yeah, and I think that the answer is like definitely like in the gray area, and it's like my name, Gray Skeptic, but it's like it's really not a black or white topic. It is one of the least black and white topics that there are. But yeah, there's a lot to explore there. Is there more?
I imagined myself. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I imagined myself that with that Snapchat filter that turns into a wolf. That's how I was like thinking. Like, anyway, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was going to see if you could both take over the conversation for a minute, because I have a phone call to take real quick. I'm very sorry.
Does anybody in the chat have a question? I would love to like answer some cool questions. I think there were some up here. I was trying to pay attention. I'm really bad at going back and forth. Some Nacho got hosed. Nope.
Look, while you're looking, I'll just piggyback off of what you were saying.
Sure, go ahead.
So, yeah, I think quality of life, the point that you were making about the quality of life is really important. And I mean, that's what I tend to think too, that, I mean, I think about my own life, and I would not have this life. And it's a life I really love right now. I'm getting my PhD, and I'm like, for people who are listening, that's my situation right now. So I'm almost done with my PhD. And if I had gotten pregnant and had a baby at any point, up until this point, and my life would just look very different. And that's not saying it definitively would look bad, but it just would look different. And I really like my life. And yeah, so it's definitely important.
Oh, questions in the chat. Hit it up, peeps. Thank you, Nacho Witness. Awesome. So we have questions in the chat.
Oh, great. Okay.
Let's see. No, he didn't write them. I'm so confused. Oh, no. He was telling other people who were in the chat. Oh, I failed. Sorry. I thought he wrote them into the mod because he's a mod. So, So if we were, let's see, if I was 25 and a Christian and in my relationship, it would definitely hurt us in a big way, because he actually said, like, if that he would have an abortion. So we had very different views, and he would have an abortion if he was a woman, and at the time. So it's pretty tough even now, because we didn't have shared views, and I was an atheist at the time. And so even after a long time, like this is the first time in my entire life that I've ever thought about this in the last 3 months, not because I had an abortion, which I would share if I did, but because I've been thinking about it. Do you have other questions, Mac? We kind of lost it.
No, it's cool. It's cool. First, I want to apologize. I usually don't run away from my my live streams, and I'll explain just a little bit so everyone knows. I had work tonight, which I usually do after these, so I just work all night once we're done. But I sent my wife in instead because she works with me. And she had questions, so I had to go answer a call. And then we have to go to my half brother's wedding tomorrow at noon. So that's why I'm sending her earlier.
Oh, congrats.
So yeah, thank you. So yeah, so just so much going on today. Like I told you, I got home 20 minutes before the stream, and then we had to get the baby to bed, and I had to set up. Then I had to send her to work. I'm just like, Jesus. But yeah. Anyways, I did have more questions. If I could just think of them, that would be fantastic.
Zero has a question that where were you taught that evolution was crap / impossible? And yes, we were. I actually left a class in college because of that. And then Nacho Witness says pineapple on pizza. Yay or nay? Heather? Pineapple on pizza? Yeah.
No.
Yay. I would say yes. Pineapples are good on everything.
High five, Christine.
Yeah. Yes. Cyber 5.
Yeah.
Cyber 5. And
don't tell your wife.
Don't tell my wife about the Cyber 5.
Just kidding.
Very jealous.
JK.
You got a Cyber 5. I've never gotten a Cyber 5.
I'll give her a Cyber 5.
No, you won't. They're mine. I'm very stingy. Sit down. I can't sit down anymore.
I can't sit down any further.
This has been very, very fun. Are either of you still itching to go yet?
No, I'm awake, but Heather needs more sleep than me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, one more. Yeah, Chrissy is I don't know how she does it, but she just. Yeah, you definitely just function on much less sleep. I'm very high maintenance. I'm like a baby. I'm like, I need 9 hours of sleep. Anyway, it's fine. Yeah, one more question's good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'll try to think of a real doozy. Because I'm trying to think of the big hot topics, transgender stuff, death penalty. I know I'm missing some big ones that I'm just not thinking of them. The only other thing I can think of is do you like Trump and why? But
no, can you not ask that, please?
Can we not go down
do we have to answer in character?
Yes.
Oh, that'd be fun now.
Oh,
No,
I
it would
could.
not.
I could do
wow.
it though.
Yeah, go ahead, Heather. You enjoy it.
Okay, I can do it.
Okay. Do you like
This
Trump?
is me in character.
And why?
Yeah.
And then you can
Again,
It just has to be our last
disclaimer.
question.
Just
Can we please ask another question after this?
Oh, okay.
I don't want to
Oh,
end on
okay. Yeah.
Trump.
I'll go fast too. I'll go fast.
That's
but
what
also,
she said.
disclaimer: in case I ever run for president, and this is out on the internet, these are not my actual views. Okay.
finish it on Trump.
So in character, I, Trump runs his mouth a lot, and yeah, he said some problematic things, and I don't agree with everything he says, but he is a way better he was a way better candidate than Hillary, because Hillary, has killed millions of babies and is a evil socialist woman who wants to destroy working class America. And so for that reason, I voted for Trump, even though I wish there was a better Republican candidate. I would have said. That's what I would have said.
So, and I would have said, well, my pastor says that God chose Trump, and so we should respect him as a.
You got it. You got it. Take it home.
As our commander-in-chief.
That's what she said.
Maybe.
Who wants to have sex with Don? Anyway, okay, let's
Melania?
Yeah. No, I don't think that.
She doesn't even want to hold his hand. Did you see that?
Yeah. She's purely a trophy wife. Like there's Ugh.
So yeah, with next question.
Yeah. Next question. We're done. Actually, I will just say on that I still considered myself a conservative until the 2016 election. It was like, oh,
interesting.
Flush.
Yeah.
I was done after that. I'm just like, all right, I'm going like not full liberal, but I felt like I was going like full liberal. Like at that point.
Whatever. I think it's okay. I mean, it's different when you're. It's different because there are different views for. You can be like really fiscally, conservative, and it's still not that terrible. Wait, never mind. Continue.
Yeah.
Who are you? No. All right. So, last question then. Do you want a question as a Christian, or do you want
whatever you want
to atheism?
You do you. We can answer both ways.
Yeah, we can do both ways. Yeah.
Okay. I kind of want to ask a political, government, world, whatever kind of question.
Okay.
So, make it as long-winded as you want, but make sure Heather gets 9 hours of sleep. In a perfect world, what would your government look like?
Oh.
Like in a nutshell, like a little more than just more conservative, more liberal. Just like, what are the key points of like our government and like our society that you would want to adjust, like to make normal, and maybe a little bit of how, maybe a little bit of why, and you can answer it either both ways.
Do you want to go first, Kristen?
No, go ahead, Heather. I'm not great at this stuff.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll answer like as me now because it's easier. And I am actually so I am a democratic socialist. I'm actually a member of the DSA, and we're gaining support and gaining ground, so it's really exciting. And also I've lived in Europe, so that's definitely affected my views. So I am a socialist. I believe that healthcare is a right, and everyone should have access to healthcare. And I believe that we should completely abolish privatized healthcare completely, and we should do what other countries in Europe do and have done successfully, which is that everyone has access to healthcare, and there's a cap on the cost even of prescription drugs. And we can do that if we actually just have higher taxes for people of higher income brackets. It's entirely possible. And the reason why there's resistance to it is because the 1%ers don't want their taxes getting taken out. So even though we pay taxes for other services, so I get frustrated. This is the conversation I have, for example, with my parents who are still very conservative, who, they're like, well, why should we pay for healthcare for people with our tax money? And I'm like, well, you already do that with other services. Like, you believe in a fire department, right? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, well, that's socialism. Like, you're paying taxes for this service that you believe is for the common good and that everyone should be able to have a fire department come to their house, if there's a fire. So I believe in that. I believe that in workers' rights. And, so I believe that people should earn a living wage. And I believe that capitalism creates a lot of issues because it tends to foster this idea. It creates a hierarchy in which the working class is suppressed at all different levels. I see this, and it's just pervasive in pretty much every major institution, that the people in the upper echelons are making a lot more money, and the lower class and working class individuals are not they're getting their rights suppressed in lots of different ways, especially in terms of salary. So I believe in workers' rights, unions. I'm a proud member of more than one union because I'm a teacher. I'm a faculty and I'm a TA. So I'm like a member of both unions. And but I believe in all of this peacefully. So I want to make that clear. I'm not an anarchist. I'm not, I don't believe in a fascist government or anything. I believe in trying to achieve these goals through the democratic mechanisms that we have in place. And I also believe in gender equality and racial equality, which is something that we have a long way to go in our country because there are so many systemic inequalities. And it's not enough to just say, oh, well, everyone's created equal. But there's so many institutions in place that are still perpetuating income inequality and racial inequality and gender inequality. So, and that's complicated to fix, but that's my vision. That's my dream vision.
That's nice. That's beautiful.
It's so cool. And it's, not obviously achievable in its pure form, but I do think we can do things to work in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can get there, but like in a longer amount of time than like we think, or at least something really close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe.
Yeah. What was that?
Our offspring, maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So yeah, for me, some big immediate things, if I could make a effect change that high up soon, would be getting rid of term limits for the Senate and the House. Yeah, the House too doesn't have term limits, right? Those are ridiculous. And I think that would start a lot of change just by doing that. And then I would dissolve the parties as much as I could, or maybe not dissolve them, but at least get, like, the primaries are ridiculous. I mean, it's just stupid that we can't get a moderate candidate into the presidency. And I'm not like, sure, there are people who are run for the moderate party and they will get votes, but like, it's impossible. And there's no, I mean, sure, prove me wrong, please. But right now it's impossible.
I'd love to.
You can't. Right. Right. Exactly. That is probably one of the most frustrating things about our government right now, and maybe the easiest to attain if people would just realize that they have to stop getting elected and put there's got to be another way to do it. But anyway, if I'm dead tomorrow, you guys know why. And then in terms of a utopian, well, maybe not utopian, but close to it. I do agree with the healthcare aspect, depending on how much strength and education, how much strength we put into it. Because I mean, when we make education public, we've done that, and we just haven't kept up with it. And I do think that's been a failing. And so there is sort of this difficulty to keep high quality, a high standard in education and in healthcare when you make that publicizing, I don't know whatever it's called, happen. And so I do like get nervous about those things. But so yeah, so I do have similar views to Heather, maybe not as extreme, because I live in New Hampshire and it rocks. I mean, it's like awesome to have like a low crime rate, to own anything you want, to like, it's just cool, to have no taxes. So.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what the connection was where I was saying, okay, yeah, the low taxes. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have income tax, but they charge us for other stuff. You'd be surprised. It kind of evens out. But so yeah, and I mean, if we could go back for, several years and not elect the people, or to have good candidates. And I did like, part of that is part of, dissolving the parties, or creating the ability for more parties. So yeah. So for me, it's things that are actually attainable, but that are just out of the reach of the public, and really frustratingly out of the reach of the public, because I think having a moderate candidate will bring these conversations, the conversations that Heather are talking to a realistic place. Where we can have conversations with people, with conservatives and liberals coming together and being like, okay, well, we have to work with this president. So let's figure out what we can get done together, instead of this swinging pendulum that we've ended up in. And it's really tearing the country apart too, and people, and you can see it. And I just want the paradigm, or the paradox, sorry, to whatever, the thing that's not the epitome, I don't know, the thing that we look at and we like. What is it? Is it paradigm? Was I right the first time?
I
I'm
don't know.
not quite
Well,
sure.
I don't know what you're trying
Finish your thought.
I would like the president to be the picture of unity and
like
compromise, and
okay. So he's like the embodiment.
Yes, the embodiment, right, of like working together and achieving things together. So those are things I wish for the country. It's not exactly where my political views lie. It's just these things need to change before any of that can happen, I feel.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. No. I mean, I appreciate it.
Yeah, as a Christian and as an atheist, I probably would have answered that pretty similarly.
Cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Cool. I'll nutshell mine real quick, just to also throw it in there, for fun. But I like to base my political views other way around, really. I think my political views are best placed in humanism. Like I don't think it's like an actual like political party or stance, but I think that it can or should be, because you can just base so much off of that principle base. I feel like my abortion views fall in there. Like, no one should use it as birth control. I feel like that's like an immoral thing, but there are so many cases where it's needed, and it should be a right. Like, you can't tell someone to just not do that. But like, again, like if someone's like using it every month just because they don't like want to take a pill or something, like that's gross. Like, stop that. Like, somehow regulate it. I don't know. But and then like any kind of like equality, human rights, like gay, transgender, races, any kind of it doesn't matter like what you look like, or how you feel, or whatever. Like, you should have basic human rights, and like you should be treated with dignity, right?
Except for white supremacists.
Except for them. Yes.
If I'm dead tomorrow, you know why.
Right? Right? Or like the black supremacists or any supremacists or whatever supremacists. The ists. I don't like the
But
ists.
certainly, yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other big thing, which kind of goes to what Heather focused on a little bit more, was the healthcare system. I think that health insurance like just should be abolished. Like that it shouldn't exist. It's like that's what fucks up our whole healthcare system. And like if you just get rid of that, like, oh, maybe people will suffer for a week, and then the hospitals are gonna like realize, oh, no one can afford to go to the hospital, so we are crashing. Like there's nothing. So they would just lower the costs or whatever, so people could go to the hospital again, because it's like you're not just going to get rid of the medical field, but if you but the better way is like again abolish insurance health insurance companies and then make healthcare universal, right? So
just abolish greedy people. Jesus.
Greedy people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just get rid of greedy people. We should have a monitor. Beep, beep, beep. You know, like, oh, you're too greedy. Right. All right. Well, go somewhere else.
Right. And monopoly should be like broken up and shit. Just like it's yeah. So that's I think that's like my biggest things. I do have a quick question for you real quick because we got it in the live chat. Zero asked how or what's like the last straw, if you could sum it up, like what was the last nail in the coffin for your deconversion, because you wanted to know like the whole deconversion thing, but I know we're wrapping up, so if you can just kind of give us the last nail in the coffin.
Yeah. Do you want to? You can go first, Chrissy. If you
want.
Oh,
sure. For me, it was just my friend asking me if I doubted, and I said, "Yeah, all the time." And then I was like, "Yeah, all the time." And so, yeah. Wait a minute. Mine is a long time coming. I was like building that coffin since I was like 7. But I was really devout. And so there was this, but I always felt doubt. And so, yeah. So it was just my friend talking to me, making me admit or helping me admit that I wasn't a Christian. I was still really active then too. I was very active at that point. It went from no to oh yes, like very fast.
Yeah.
It was in college.
That's kind of a good way to go, though.
Good way to go.
A good way to go, like
quick and dirty.
Yeah, basically.
Didn't even know it happened.
Right, yeah. but also like a conversation. Like a good conversation.
Yeah, sure. But it kind of stopped though. Like I didn't really talk to him much about it afterward. Yeah. So it just was like that conversation. And then I was like, oh, hey, guess what? I'm not a Christian anymore. Got to back up. Yeah. It was interesting. Heather?
Yeah, mine was there was a little bit of build up too, but I'd come back from doing my master's degree in England, and I was living in a city and was like still trying to find a church, but my heart wasn't really in it. But I was still trying to convince myself that maybe it was just because I didn't find the right church. And anyway, I met this woman there and I had lunch with her, and I don't know why this was the last straw, but again, there was obviously a build up, but this woman was a like just very religious and also very like traditional in her gender role. So she had like had a really awesome job in England as well, and had like given that up to marry this guy, and was like living, just at that point had a baby like a few months ago, and was like really into the baby. And that was her life. And we got lunch, and she just talking to her, like I was like, oh my gosh, this is not I can't do this anymore. I don't know, just like her whole worldview. And she like prayed in public, and and I felt so uncomfortable. And yeah, so that was the last straw. But obviously there had been a buildup for a while. But I was like, I don't want to be this woman. I don't want to be part of this community. And I'm just not this kind of person. Mm-hmm. So,
and if Zero wants to hear more about our deconversion, he can ask, or she can ask, depending, or Z, whatever, can ask if don't laugh. Can ask if now we can laugh. It's the tension is or listen to our podcast, which is just us talking about our deconversion. Legit, like
yeah,
would be the easy way.
It's I highly recommend everyone check out the description box, and like a little while tomorrow morning at the latest, and check out their channel, Forsaking Faith.
Thank you. It's a baby podcast, so it's not as well produced as it will be, and every week. Yeah, it's growing, getting better.
It's growing. So, yeah. One of the ways that I like to look at my videos is maybe someday I'll have like 50,000 subscribers. That'll be awesome. And there's going to be people who want to binge watch my material. Like I wanted to binge watch everyone else's.
I do now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, so like I have content for you. And it's fun that way. It's fun. And so I'm just like, well, if they don't watch it now, maybe someone will watch it later. And that alone like makes me happy and makes me want to keep making videos. But anyways, thank you, live chat, for joining in. Last quick question. You guys can just shout no if you'd like. What would you say if someone came up to you and said, the Bible supports flat Earth? Like
as a Christian, no. Sorry, no.
Yeah.
What?
I figured. Right.
No.
So yeah, I think Zero asked that as well, and I was gonna be like, dude, don't push it. But
nice. Yeah.
But all right. Well, again, thank you both for coming over to my channel and having this fantastic conversation with me. This was so fun. And yes, Heather.
Oh no, I was just gonna say thank
you. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, this was really fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Again, thanks live chat for coming and staying so long, because I know at least Shane, Nacha, Beej, they've been here since like
guys, wow, nice. And gals and guys, that's awesome.
Purple rhymes with orange. Casey Atheist showed up, and Zero, and Christy Santiago. And I think that was everyone who showed up tonight. But hopefully a few more people watch it. If not, we had a great crowd, and we had some really good questions. And thanks to everyone for being here. Do you want to end with anything? Plug your channels. Say your Twitter handles. Your Twitter handles. I can say it. I can talk.
Yeah. Our Twitter handle is Forsaking Faith. It's at Forsaking Faith. We're pretty easy to find. We're on the top at Google right now, which is awesome, because when I first started Googling us, it was the phrase forsaking all else something.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But we've changed the system, Heather.
Yay! I didn't know that. That's cool. Okay,
that's
I'm
really
gonna
cool.
Google us now.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and we're at Facebook at Forsaking. If you look up Forsaking Faith, I mean, pretty much Forsaking Faith everywhere you can find us. Even forsakingfaith@gmail.com. And speaking of which, awesome. Every week we put a montage together of people talking about their deconversion stories, depending on what we're talking about. And so if you just want to like spew a little bit about yourself in terms of deconversion, whether it's regarding sex or relationships or sexuality, I can pull clips from that, and it would be great. And you just put in the email how you want to be credited, and I'll do that. We also have an art section at the end of our podcast, which is a little different than some podcasts where we want people to share a poem or a music segment or even just a thought, or we have a short story this week that we're going to have at the end of the sex podcast, and sex podcast sounds awesome. And so please send us those things. I mean, we're interested in hearing, and questions, and yeah, we're just interested in making this baby a toddler in terms of our podcast. So, and finding our voice and figuring out how we want to produce this. So definitely send your stuff our way. Also check out Women of Deconversion every month. The first Monday of every month. It's just a bunch of chicks talking about sinning. So, but it's awesome. So yeah, my plug.
We're doing, I'm just going to piggyback. Yeah, we're doing a 7 Deadly Sins theme for the secular hangouts, the Women of Deconversion. So we started with vanity last month, this month. We're going to do all the rest. So stay tuned.
Thank you to everybody on the chat. And also, when Matt gets back, so I know it's the last thing. But yeah, I do want to say, like, I appreciate everybody for listening. This is awesome. It's really fun to like do this. So if you guys have shows and you want us to hang out with you, we'll probably eventually start doing people on our shows, but it's going to be a while because we've got some other things in play. And I want to end with, thou shalt have no other orgasms before me.
I'm so glad I came back for that.
I waited.
It's perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. You're appreciated.
That's what she said.
Usually I'm the only one who says that.
I know.
You're taking all my taglines.
Oh yeah, right. That's your tagline.
You say it enough times, it sounds like it. All right. Heather, did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
She did.
No, I don't think I can top that. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah.
All right. Well, then we're gonna shut down for the night. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Please check out Forsaking Faith podcast and YouTube channel. So everyone have a good night. Thanks for coming.
Later.
Later.